And a good spiritual morning to you once again. Thanks for joining us today for a quick chat. And of course, our morning cup of coffee.
Good morning. Thanks for being with us today. We hope you're having a really nice day.
Yeah, and today we wanted to talk about something. Well, you had something you wanted to talk about that I'm not as familiar with, but you're dealing with more and more.
Okay, you ready for me to
what's the latest and greatest from our public school system?
All right, let me complain for a little bit. Not complain, but let's have a nice conversation about this. I found out something new that we never grew up with.
Okay.
A big thing right now that's happening because it's October are boo baskets.
Boo baskets.
I said to someone at school, "What on earth is a boo basket?" And if you want to relate it to something, it's kind of like a Valentine, but for Halloween.
Physically, is it literally a basket?
Yeah, it could be a basket, it could be a bag, but you're going to Walgreens, you're going to Target, and you are getting little gifts and candies.
We're not sponsored by Walgreens and Target. I'm just kidding.
You're getting snacks or little stuffed animals, keychains, toys, candies
right,
for the person that you're dating when you're 11. So that's my complaint for the day. Let's talk about this. So boo baskets are all around us this week.
Okay, so it's Boo Basket Week. So, and that leads us into maybe a conversation of, and you're seeing a lot of this in school, and I mean, I see it dealing with young kids all the time. We've got young kids, but I'm around young kids and talking to them, and this idea that they're dating, right? And I mean, I think we all dealt with dating in school.
Sure.
But maybe it's changed. I'm sure it's changed.
So the problem that I'm having, so I go home and I complain to my sweet husband and I say, "This is what we should talk about on our video."
And he doesn't listen.
And
he pretends he listens.
So my problem is that I feel that dating has gotten too young. And so now let me define what dating is as far as what I can see as staff at a school.
Okay.
They like each other. Their friends make them like each other. Oh, he's cute. You're cute. You two should date. Let's hold hands between classes.
Okay.
Let's give each other a hug before we depart for our next class, math or English. And then let's have all our friends giggle and text each other about who's dating and who's not dating.
Okay. So now let me stop you there because we talked about this a little bit, and my initial response is I'm going to play devil's advocate, which I don't get to do too often. So it was fun. And so I said, well, that seems harmless. I would see a lot of parents saying, of course, it's cute. So kids do that.
Yeah. Come on, Prez, stop being so
weird. They're learning how to socialize and how to interact and how to be romantic, kind of, quote unquote. So what's wrong with it?
So the problem that I'm seeing is that not only do I not want our younger kids to be dating right now, but the problem I'm seeing, let's say 3 things. It gets worse and worse as I get through the 3. Are you ready? So the first thing is that some kids don't even want to be dating. They don't know how to date. So that's kind of a joke to me. You're 10, you're 11, you're 12. You don't know what that means. And I'll tease the kids because some of them don't have phones, they don't have cash, they don't have a car. What does dating mean to them?
Well, like you said, can it just be cute? Yeah. It's cute.
Yes, it's cute. So that's
but
okay.
It's not.
But then what happens is they don't know how to get out of the situation when they've changed their mind, which is so normal. I think every week they might like somebody else. So they should be able to be with these people, spend time with these friends, and flirt as they learn how to have social skills, like you said, is very important, especially when you're not on technology.
Maybe more in groups.
Right.
Okay.
But then they don't know how to get out of the situation. So some specific examples are when you then decide you don't like this person anymore, you might like their best friend.
Okay.
When you like their best friend, you don't know how to stop at 11 years old liking one and switching to another. You're not mature or capable of doing that. So everybody might say, oh, what's the big deal? So just don't talk to that person anymore. But then when the 2 girls find out and in middle school get mad at each other and fight physically
that was the video we had on Girl Fights.
That's where it's coming from. That's a huge problem. The next problem is, as parents, we like to think of our children as being young, and they are trying to grow up. At a rate that we're not ready for. So when I thought, well, they're just holding hands and doing different things. And then when the staff at one of the schools I work at complains because after school, there's usually parks in California next to the schools.
Sure.
And kids like to go to the park after school.
Right.
So these children are being caught in the bathrooms at the schools, let's say 7th or 8th graders, doing very, very inappropriate things in the bathrooms, and the staff will catch them.
They're playing at the park. They're playing at the park.
And it keeps me up at night.
In a Clintonian way. They're playing at the park. Sorry.
So I have a problem. Let's bring it back to dating. I have a big issue, and I want to talk about this because I feel like you and I've also realized that if you're not getting married at 19 anymore, like in the good old days, or 20 or 21.
20, 25, 27.
So are you really dating from 10 until you're 30?
Well, that's the other problem.
I mean, dating, but...
Well, here's the thing. So I guess I'm trying to digest what you're saying and understand it. And
not be horrified by it?
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, I mean, I kind of know some of what's happening a little bit. But what you're saying is, on the one hand, kids are dating earlier.
Yes.
And when we say dating... not in the cute kind of fun movie way.
I'm sure it is a little bit at the beginning.
At the very beginning, but then it goes south. It goes, serious very quickly.
By 8th grade.
By 8th grade, it's getting physical in a way that parents would probably not understand is actually the reality.
Okay.
So we're talking 13, 14. But then we've also pushed out the age of adolescence. We used to say, you're 18, grow up, and you're on your own now. Either you're going to get a job or you're going to college. Mm-hmm. And then you finish college, and then you either go on for more school or you get your job. Now, the average age that most people agree adolescence has pushed onto is approaching 30. It's like 27.
Okay.
Where you have a lot of adults, in their late 20s, mid to late 20s, just continuing to live at home, not taking the responsibility and not being able to go out for a number of reasons. And that's neither here nor there. The point is adolescence has now gotten earlier and pushed later. So there's this huge window now for inappropriate things to happen, because it used to be we're trying to keep our kids pure and safe, keep them active in the church, right? When you're going to Sunday school, you're in altar, you're doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. You hit 18, and there's a sort of mentality, okay, I'm out of all that stuff. I'm going off to college. It's sin time. It's time for me to experiment and do stupid things and see if I can break every one of the 10 commandments in 4 years. And it's all okay. It's sort of like licensed, right? But let's be honest. Well, of course, they're in college, as we see here. Now, college, it's not just 18 to 22. Mm-hmm. Now it's 22 has gone 24, 25, 27, 29. And there's a good 10 now. If you're pushing it up to 14 to 29, is that 15 years, let's say, on average, where you're not even expected to be serious in a relationship. So, mom and dad and Yaya and Papu, what do you think these kids are doing for 15 years? Well, you're not supposed to be serious in a relationship, yes, but they're doing something.
That is serious.
It is serious. And we have to understand it is serious. And what are they doing?
So
right? How is what they're doing going to affect their real relationship when they get to that point?
And their spiritual journey. I mean, let's be orthodox about it. So don't get me wrong. Nice. I think that it's great when kids go to homecoming and go to prom and go to basketball games and when they're with their friends, because I think I'm not trying to be ridiculous.
No.
I'm just trying to say, I feel as Orthodox parents, grandparents, godparents, we need to have dialogue and be able to speak in a spiritual way and say, you don't have to date right now. Hang out with your friends. Spend time with your friends.
You said there was one great kid. She said at your school.
There's a kid at the middle school, one of the middle schools I work at, and he's a cute kid. He you can tell why all the girls like him. And his answer is, his parents won't let him date. And so I thought,
so the girls,
how relieved is he?
Right, the girls are like being a little aggressive. Pouncing. They're pouncing. Yeah. The harpies are pouncing, and sorry, and he's able to just step back and say, "Sorry, I'm not allowed to date. My parents won't let me do that."
He can talk to everybody.
Right.
He can spend time with everybody.
He's out of the drama.
That's the word that I think
which
is hard
he's not emotionally mature enough to handle yet, and. Considering the emotional maturity level of kids nowadays, he won't be for another 10 years.
Right.
To be honest.
Please also know, this is my time to kind of rant a little bit, so forgive me.
Usually I'm the one ranting and raving. That's nice.
The middle school kids are telling us as staff, oh, have you seen Grey's Anatomy this week? Have you seen Friends? Are you watching the reruns on this show? And I think
you're being kind. Keep going.
I don't want to talk about the other movies that they're watching, or what's that one on Netflix with the English people, Bridgerton.
Oh yeah, Bridgerton.
No
Game of Thrones. They've all watched Game of Thrones.
So
they've all watched, right.
We cannot think it's okay for our kids to see dating on television and not think it's affecting them, and that they think, oh, that's how I'm supposed to be in a dating relationship.
Right.
We have to set more boundaries. We have to be empowered to say, God has given me these beautiful children or grandchildren. It's okay for me to say, no, don't do that, sweetheart.
Right.
Like I said, if they want to go to homecoming and go with a group of friends, I'm not saying that they're going to be monks and nuns, or I'm not saying that they're going to be socially isolated.
Sure.
I just think we can empower them to say, you know what? Hey, you're in my house. We don't do that right now.
Right.
Spend time with people, but you're not dating right now.
And that needs to be a parameter that parents and grandparents have, if they have influence, try to set before. Just tell your kid before it happens to sort of say, this is what we do as a family. Just so you know, this is what we do. Not like in the mix of it. Not like when they're 17 or 16 and they want to have a serious relationship to say, no, you're not allowed to see that person. Now it's about that person. It should be just generally speaking, kids are so immature. I guess this might be the take home to some extent, one of them. Kids are so much more immature nowadays at earlier and later ages than we ever were a generation or two generations ago, that the same rules don't apply. You can't say at 19 or 20 or even beyond that, you should be able to have your college girlfriend, college boyfriend, high school sweetheart. You can handle it. They can't handle it. They don't have the same level of maturity that we did, because they're going to remain immature and unable to take care of themselves till they're 29. That's what's happening now. So at 18, they don't know what they're doing for themselves, let alone do they know how to be responsible for being in a relationship with another person. So that's the one thing. It's okay to say, sweetie, we don't do that, right? You're not ready for that. Don't worry about that yet. Let's think about that later. And try to keep them, and this might be the general take home for all of us, we're trying to keep our kids pure. We're trying to keep them away from sin and temptation, which is all around them. And that's what I'm saying. Don't give them a license to go out there and break commandments and sin, and give them a 15-year window to go do that and do horrifying things to their spiritual life. And then say, well, someday you're going to get married and it'll all just magically vanish and disappear. Right. No, they're going to carry all that garbage into their marriage. Yeah. And then the parents come back and wonder, well, why are they getting divorced? Well, because you let them do garbage for 15 years, have all of that baggage, and take that into their marriage. And then, of course, their marriage isn't going to work.
It's hard.
So, I mean, maintaining that purity. I'm sorry, I cut you off there.
No, it's okay. And let's be, Father and I have, we've been parents for 27 years. We know that our kids aren't going to tell us everything. We know that they're going to date behind.
Thank God.
Thank God. We know that they might date and we might not know about it, but we can still have the conversation because they hear what you're saying. And in their hearts, they know Mom and Dad want me to be better, or want me to have a wonderful life.
And you can say we don't know, but
you know. So
that's a joke.
We're not being naive and saying, oh, in a perfect Orthodox household, everybody's going to be obedient and do exactly what we say. But the more we discuss,
I suppose that's true. There just are no perfect Orthodox households.
The more we discuss openly with our kids, our hopes and our expectations, the more I hope we empower them to survive. These are hard years.
It is.
These are hard years for the kids.
I think to bring it full circle, because you might say, well, this is just a video for parents that have kids that are dating. Right. But for all of us to recognize that sin and temptation is all around us, and that we make choices every day that affect our purity and affect our ability to withstand temptation. And so we're trying as best as we can to teach our kids to do that, to know, look, it's okay to not just do what everybody else is doing. All of your friends are doing it. Everyone else is doing it. So you feel like you have to do it. And how much does that apply to adults? We all feel that way, right? Well, everybody does that. So I need to do it. No, it's okay for you to be different, for you to be counterculture, for you to say no. As Orthodox, and kind of by definition, to know if you're being a good Christian, Christianity and culture don't go together, right?
I like
you
that,
probably need to be counterculture if you're going to be an effective and healthy Christian. And so it's okay for us to know that and to realize that. Part of my growth in Christ is I need to remain pure. I need to not be doing what everybody else is doing around me, because I'm trying to avoid sin and temptation so that I can get closer and closer to Christ and do that each and every day.
Amen.